Hi, I'm Larry Mike Arenda, and welcome to this edition of Excelsior Forum Profiles. With us, no stranger to the show, and glad to have her back, County Legislator Leslie Kennedy. Leslie, so great to have you
How are
back
you?
again.
How are you?
Always a pleasure to have you on, and we're in our continuing series about the County Legislator this year. Your district, always something going on.
Always.
And your district encompasses what area?
It encompasses Comac, Smithtown, Hauppauge, Nesconset, St. James. Well, no, St. James I lost in the redistricting.
Right.
Lake Grove, Lake Ronkonkoma, Center Ridge except for 2 streets. I have about this much of Holbrook, and that's it.
So you're pretty well scattered all.
I am scattered, but it's good. It's a good scatter. Lots of work to do.
Now, speaking of work and charitable work, always around the holidays, which just passed, you had a lot of things that went on. You want to tell them?
We always do a bunch of things. We do drives. We did, with Center Ridge, we did a Christmas tree lighting. We've done Christmas tree lightings at all of our areas in there. We had some Santa Claus events and good stuff, helping those that are in need.
And like you said, that's one of your mainstays, especially around the holidays, is helping out the community, the areas, blood drives, and all these other things that you've done.
Correct.
One of the biggest tragedies that had to happen in the beginning of August last year, with Mill Pond, the dam,
the pond,
water, everything that happened. Poor people have been waiting now 4 or 5 months for any type of relief, things that go on. What type of bill were you working on that passed for them?
We have been able to appropriate $6.6 million for the fixing of Stump Pond. DPW just picked the design people, which is McLean and Associates engineering firm, and they are working on the design and have been for a couple of weeks now. When they are done, we will put out another RFP immediately for the actual building. And we are perfectly on schedule to start close to the end of the year with the project.
So they're basically going to rebuild the entire dam and the entire area?
And a fish ladder.
And a fish ladder, too.
And a fish ladder to make it easier. I will tell you, it was a disaster, 11 point something inches in like 4 hours, 5 hours of rain. 3 of our fire districts lost huge pumper trucks going down Jericho Turnpike because the flooding was so drastic. But 2 weeks ago, we pulled out at 4 o'clock of the North County complex, John and I, to attend a meeting, and we make the left, and on the right is a piece of property that I got maybe 5 years ago, the headwaters of the Nesquequog River that we had been trying to get for years in there, and it was kind of a bit polluted, and there was a snowy egret in the headwaters and a matched set of ducks in there, which I thought was marvelous, that it showed life and it showed reuptake, even though most of the water had dissipated over time.
Signs that it's coming back.
Signs that it's coming back. And this week, there were 2 matched pairs of ducks, which I didn't think was so great. But when I spoke to Parks and told them about the event, they said, we're down on ducks. Hunting has been poor with them. They have not been here. They've been gone, missing. And now they're all coming back. So there's a little blessing in all the bad that happens.
So they're figuring it's cheaper real estate. We're going to move back in, right?
Well, we should, not at $6.6 million, but
right.
We should get FEMA reimbursement, either full or 80% out of this. I've written 4 letters. I've joined on to 2 letters. I've spoken with our congressman. Everyone is working. I'm just waiting for our president to take over, and then I will write to him and FEMA again, because it will be a different...
Now, you've been working with not just the federal government on this. You've been working with the local village government. You've been working with the town government and the state to get these packages together. And now it looks like
thank God for Ed Romaine.
I was about to say County Legislator Ed Romaine has done a great job to help the governor get some of that money start coming down here.
Yes.
I mean, people don't realize. I mean, it really looks like as if you were watching a disaster movie on TV.
Oh.
I mean, just
FEMA
like
will be
everything
coming down, not
washed
for
over.
my district, but they will be coming down for the head of the harbor that they call Stony Brook, but it's really head of the harbor
Right.
area that had the damage to that duck pond, because that's different than what the damage in Smithtown is. That is privately owned in there.
Right.
So while my schools, my libraries, my churches that were damaged will be getting FEMA reimbursement, my houses that have mold all over them are falling apart due to floodwaters, FEMA's not covering. So that was consistent with the letters that I
Right.
wrote up, and I will, that's why I'm waiting for our people
But
to.
you're known as a fighter, especially around the legislature, and
I don't
not
know.
giving
I call
up
them a
on
nag.
anything.
I call it a nag. That's my job.
And you're going to continue fighting, and you have some allies on the legislature that are helping you with this, right?
I
With your
do.
neighboring legislators?
I do. I have everything was unanimous, the vote, which is unusual. I also have two other. We are on a floodplain. Smithtown into Brookhaven is a floodplain, and people don't realize that every 7 to 9 years, and now it's getting to be every 5 to 9 years, the groundwater level rises to the ground from underground, which was the issue. It was high when this 11.5 inches came in there. So there was nowhere for it to escape. There was nowhere for it to go. And the sheer force and the volume of rain coming down was what.
Yeah, that whole back area, Stony Brook, going from Smithtown, that whole back, that basically hugs the sound. But the flooding was rampant. I mean, Rocky Point in Brookhaven
Horrible.
was devastated too.
Horrible. But people don't think of that. I have to think of it because Smithtown is so bad with the flooding in there. 25 years I've been dealing with this. So this was, okay, let's get moving. The other project there's two other projects that I got funding for to make things a little easier. It will not cure the problem of high groundwater.
Right.
It just won't. That's God. And excessive building on places they should never have built on, but I probably shouldn't say that.
Right.
We have Mills Pond, which is part of one of the main tributaries of the Nessequag River. It has a weir on it, which goes under Maple Avenue in Smithtown. That weir is 3 boards that you pull when it's high and you put down when it's low to retain the water on the one side. It's full of fish. It's huge. It was created the 20s. It was dug for the red brick. That's any house with red brick here came from Smithtown Mills Pond. So over the years, for years and years and years, when people flood in that neighborhood, and they do because it's high groundwater, people that think they know hydraulics go and pull the boards and throw them in the pond. So it floods more people because they don't understand in there. And John and I are regulars. Now it's bolted in after there was a major incident following that event where people created blocks to keep it, which caused more flooding. We had to come up with another way so that it's John and I'm not calling parks at 11 o'clock at night. Quick, you got to come. We're getting 4 inches of rain in there. So what we did was did some research, and DPW did some beautiful research, and we came up with a metal weir which bows according to water pressure. So no one is going to be able to pull it. Nobody's going to be able to chock it. Nobody's going to be able to throw anything in the whatever. No sabotage. And it will adjust as we tell it to adjust to the water pressure. So I got $2.5 million for that. And that's going in, hopefully, at the end of this year.
So every little bit is going to be helping out, right?
Then we've been doing, since John was in, we've been doing a stream bed remediation. One entire summer, we spent every weekend walking through all the stream beds of the Nesquag River. It was a horrible summer. But we were able to pick the 5 largest, most damaged, least taken care of tributaries that cause backup into people's basements, because we get that a lot. And so far, all we have left is half of the 4th one, which I just got money for. And we have a project, and that's coming this year, the other half. And the reason why it wasn't completely finished at the end of last year is because Phragmites grew, and Phragmites had to go before the DEC before you're allowed to do anything. So I got money for this half, and I got money for the 5th tributary. So that's $900,000.
And you're going to continue your efforts until that whole area is all set.
And then there'll be $300,000 hopefully per year in a fund, so that the county and the town can, with the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, can continue doing cleaning. Each, minimal, if you keep up with maintenance of minimal cleaning of stuff thrown in the stream bed, then the water will flow. When it hits the ground level, it'll flow to where it's supposed to flow.
So as well as your environmental efforts have been going, you're also very tight with the Veterans Association in Suffolk County, and you sit on the Veterans Emergency Services Commission. Can you tell the public about that?
Well, I put it together. It gives gas, oil, electric payments to veterans who are struggling. It also just this year gave to 1, possibly 2, I'm not sure. I think we got a donation. Oil burners went. Some of these guys, World War II, Korean War, they're living in houses that are older, and you can't afford $4,000 or $5,000 when their pensions from their jobs are minimal at this point in time. So that works very well. We take care of them. Our veterans agency is marvelous with the county. They are pumping it up, and on that committee are people from every level, Marines, Navy, Army, in there, so it's equally divided. War-wise, it's equally divided. Peacetime, it's equally divided. So it's fair and equitable in there.
We just did a show right around the holidays with Marcelle Lease, who's in charge
I love that. That's her.
Suffolk County
She's the best.
Veterans Affairs, and her deputy, who have been working tirelessly. And I believe they're both retired officers themselves, right?
Yeah, marvelous people. Marvelous human beings. They have, I can't tell you how many people they've helped.
And
our veterans, some of whom are people that needed jobs, and they pulled them in and trained them, and boom, they're marvelous. They take care of other veterans, and what's better?
Army soldiers helping soldiers.
Yeah, that's it.
That's basically what it is.
Yep.
Another thing on your agenda has been water conservation protection in your district, because we were just saying about with the floodwaters and everything else like that. What type of water preservation things are going on in your district?
I just restarted up the Lake Ronkonkoma Advisory Board. That is going to be, I think, the 24th. I mean, you can call my office. Maybe it's the 29th.
Right.
At the legislature. Next March, or this March coming up, that quarter cent fund that everyone voted for is supposed to come through. I am putting in a request that the IA systems that how can I put it? I was not a big proponent because they only take care of nitrogen, which, while it is a great pollutant, it doesn't take care of any of the forever chemicals. We've got PFAS, PFOS, 1,4-dioxane, and there are things that are cheap and inexpensive that they could put in there, but nobody listened to me.
Now, we spoke before. You talked about a tributary. You want to tell the public a little bit about that?
No, the tributaries is the cleanup that I just talked about.
That is
all the cleaning. It's in a separate fund. There, a separate line item for capital projects. So that's $900,000, I think, for the rest of us, and then they'll be done, and then that $300,000 hopefully will be maintained long after I'm gone.
Right. They're also going to be starting the sewer project in some parts of the Smithtown area, right?
That's another thank God to Ed Romaine, and to, I even have to thank Kathy Hochul. We just got 21.5 million from her. We got another 60 million. We had 20 million from John Flanagan. Mine is still sitting there. They used Rob Trotta's for Kings Park in there. So we're almost up. It's supposed to be 128 million. We're almost up to where we have to be in order to move it forward. But everybody is good. Everybody's working. Everybody wants it to go through in there. As a matter of fact, this morning I was talking about housing with a gentleman from upstate, and he was talking about Main Street and, you know, what we can do behind Main Street and to revitalize Main Street. And once that's in, I don't think there's going to be a problem with Main Street in Smithtown anymore.
A long time coming, but at least it's coming, right?
Well, that's why I say my job's to be a nag, because it's work and nag and work and nag and work and nag. But that's all right.
Well, one of the things also that's dear to your heart, and I also know with Robert Trotter, is the police force. And recently there was an officer injured, and you wanted to bring that up on the program.
I did. I never do this. As a nurse for 30 years, when I heard the damage that this young gentleman went through this event, and this is his second or third event in there, it made me teary, and very few things make a nurse teary. Right. I just want everybody to keep praying for him. He's doing better day by day, but his damage was massive, massive. And that'll teach, well, I probably won't, but we do need to have our laws go back to punitive actions at the state level, because that young man stole that car, and because he had a warrant out for him, it didn't matter that it was a police officer's life. It wouldn't have mattered if it was your or my life.
Right.
He didn't want to be caught. So we have to go back to some semblance of
law and order.
Law and order. We really do. But if everybody would pray for him, he's going through a bit of a rough time in there.
Now, also, you lead off a couple of task forces in the county, too. You mind telling us some of that?
Well, I'm doing the Lake Ronkonkoma Advisory Task Force. I'm doing the what used to be called the Heroin and Opiate Task Force, and now we've added dual diagnosis, and we're working with the State Senate and the State Assembly. That's going to be the 24th or the 20. It's the 24th and the 29th, both of the days in January. I do Teen Pregnancy Task Force. We just finished that one up. I'm on the Board of Health. We have a few things that'll be coming up soon that'll be noteworthy. I don't want to announce them now till we have something.
Let the cat out of the bag or something.
Well, which I'm working on getting money to take care of a few things. But no, I love it. I love being busy. That's just me.
So a lot of people who will be watching the show will get to recognize you because you're actually sitting still. But Leslie, also, like Lake Ronkonkoma, there's been so much talk. There was just a movie out, a spooker movie about Lake Ronkonkoma and everything like that. What's really going on? What's the county really trying to do there? Because
that's why I retook the advisory board over. Every time it was taken over maybe 6 months before the past county executive left, and we were supposed to get someone to be in charge and do the grant writing. That never happens. And so in 6 months it fell to nothingness when we had been regularly having it. I said it was okay for it to go over to the county executive because that department had 170 people, and I figured my 3 people and myself, they could do a better job.
Which turned out to be true.
Yeah, I'm taking it back, and I already have, not this meeting, but the next meeting, I will have a gentleman, 2 gentlemen, one from Canada and one from down here, who have created a program that will assist us in getting oxygen. There is no oxygen in that lake. it's full of nitrogen and potassium and bad chemicals. The last time they did testing, they found, what was it, Ativan and a bunch of
super
drugs.
high bacteria levels in there.
Well,
and,
cyanobacteria.
It's such a shame because it really is a truly beautiful landmark.
Well, that's why the other thing I'm working on and have been working on is the egg oiling, the goose egg oiling for goose poop. That lake is full of goose poop on a consistent basis. So we've been doing that. They didn't do it last year. We're just starting back up again. The deal with that is if gooses mate for life, if they have 3 litters or whatever you call it, it's not a litter, I can't think of what it is, that are unsuccessful in a row yearly, then they move because they feel it's the environment, so they leave. And so that's the goal, to keep them moving and moving out. And we had in the past seen a significance between that, between the town of Brookhaven taking away its, they had a walkout and they would poop the whole walkout. They took that out. So a bunch of things have assisted. So these 2 gentlemen will be speaking, not at this meeting, but at the next meeting. I also today got marvelous news from the DEC. I got tired of doing tons of research and then calling the DEC and them saying, no, that's not successful.
Right.
It's very frustrating. So I said to myself, maybe we could get somebody to be a part of this team that right at the start could say, good idea, bad idea, let me do some more research, and be far more, I mean, I'm a science girl, but I'm not the DEC.
And it's constantly changing.
Yeah, and they called me today, and they gave me the gentleman who's the head of environmental, and he's going to be coming.
So that's great.
So we are moving up.
Exactly. A lot more projects that may have been stalemated or sat on the back of the desk can now move forward.
That's it. Hopefully they'll give us a little shot at changing some things. Because while some treatments for the lake are extremely expensive, this oxygenation thing would be 3 years of... Yeah, we're not dredging. That would get us in more trouble. Would be a 3-year program at $1 million a year. Is what the estimate for that is. But that still needs, more discussion with the DEC. Others are, $100,000 for a year in there, which, while it's a lot of money, is not a lot of money for the potassium, to reduce the potassium and some of the other things.
Gets into my next subject, which is capital funding. Now, you've been able to arrange
through
the years so many things for
Thank
funding.
God. I have to say that all these things are coming together at the same time. Long time waiting for this, and I am proud to say that they have all gone 100%, 18-0, because I try to make sure that it's a legitimate reason. It's not just asking for money for nonsense.
Because all legislators have their own pet peeve projects and stuff like that. And everybody wants to go to the till. And some of them are maybe noteworthy, some of them not so noteworthy.
I try to make mine science-based because there's so much in a high groundwater level area that needs to be done. Mine are all science-based.
Right, and if anything was living proof, it was what happened this August, which you had been talking about for years.
And
you're saying that the big one was
snowy egrets being in the headwaters of the Nesquag River. That is, it doesn't get better than that. It does not get better than that. That's a healthy atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a sign of a good environment, an environment that's about to turn itself back.
And it tells me, and this is just hopeful thinking, that the trout that were indigenous are still there. And I was terrified with that break that they were done for.
Yeah.
So no, ducks don't come, birds don't come unless there's something to eat.
Right.
So.
Well, it's this whole circle of life thing that you have that when you're into the waters and stuff like that, because the fish need to be there. Then it's just like the cartoon, little fish eats the bigger fish, eats the bigger fish, and it goes on, and it's a whole ecosystem, and it's not exactly, it's brittle. It's
very brittle.
It's very delicate because they found out over the years when they removed one thing from the environment, all these other things came down. And when they killed too much of one creature, then there was another whole. And so there's got to be a balance, that balance of nature that especially in the waters here on the island.
Yeah, after the dam broke, my office is directly across from Blydenburg Park. And I walked my kids there when they were young. I walked my grandchildren there when I get a day, both of us, in there. And just to see the little stream beds that were loaded with fish, not being there anymore, knowing that the fish were gone, was frightening.
It's a bit of a hard punch.
Yeah, that was hard.
And it's hard. But you're out there, you're swinging, you're fighting, you're doing everything for your district.
And I'm saving people's basements. That's what I do for a living. I save people's basements because these poor people, they flood twice a year. They flood more than that. It's a disaster.
And we have to give credit to Suffolk County Executive Ed Romaine for being right there on the environmental issues and the waterways. He knows, being a former supervisor of the town of Brookhaven and a councilman, that how important these things really are.
Yeah.
And he did a great job at Forge River, and I think he's taken that education that he had, trial by fire, and applied it to other things in the county.
Yeah, I do a lot besides the environmental stuff.
Right.
It's that the water is an urgent thing.
Right, exactly.
I work with the 4th Precinct and the 6th Precinct. Our crime is truly down, really down, which is a marvelous thing. Once a month, each of them has meetings where they give you the stats, and it's marvelous, just marvelous. What else did we do? I just went this weekend. You'll see my ear in a picture on the to an East Islip firehouse, where we gave awards to 16.5 to 18-year-olds who took 57.5 credits towards the class to become real firemen. And we, the legislature, put $125,000 in to pay for that class because nobody was signing up at all these districts. I am proud to say, in my district, I had 3 out of the 20 in there. Next time, I'm hoping for 6. But for that little, to get people that are going to be able to save the lives and the property, that little investment.
And that's what we need all over Suffolk County. But we're basically out of time, Leslie. I did want to thank you for coming on.
A pleasure.
Hopefully we'll get you back in the future and give us some of these updates about what's going on.
Okay. Have a good day.
All right. Thanks
care.
a lot. Till next time, I'm Larry Mike Arenda for the Excelsior Forum and Profiles. We'll see you right back here on this channel. Take care.